Yes, welcome to the stream. Now then, I just want to say, apologies for the delays. It's been an extremely busy day, but I've also got to say that I'm basically restricted to, today from I can't be live really beyond 6:45, pushing it. But yeah, I'm only going to be alive, but I said alive then. I'm only going to be alive for about 40 minutes today, 45-ish. I also can't attend Blue Friday show because it's just been sprung on me really last minute, guys. So do apologise for that. And light just bursting through that. Let's try and save that. There we go. Sense that up. There we go. But yeah, I'm having to cancel my my appearance on Blue Friday show, but please do go watch that show anyway because it is really, really good. But today we're going to be talking about, of course, Man City versus, well, not versus, we'll touch on all the games, but we're going to be mainly speaking about the Club World Cup and the great performances certain players had. So let me have. Now I'm just gonna have a look in a minute at some stuff. Big ups for the 4 people tuning in. Do appreciate it. Now, the first thing we're going to start with is there was a certain post. Here we go. Let me share my screen with you guys. It is a picture of, well, not picture, stats of Man City's Club World Cup and highest goal contributions, basically. Phil Foden 4, Haaland 4, Gundo 3, Cherki 2, Doku 2, Savinho 2, Bernardo 2, and when you go down a bit, you've also got Aitnari 2. Now, the main focuses today are really from Savinho up to Cherki and Foden and Aitnari and Rangers. Going to touch on all the signings and what I think of them so far, because I do think they've been pretty solid, to be fair. We're going to start by looking at Cherki. Ryan Cherki, here we go. So, Club World Cup, his 4 appearances. Got 7 here. Now, bear in mind, for these top 3, he came off the bench and really didn't get a lot of time to contribute. Now then, this was his disappointing debut that everyone pointed out. The game against Wydad, the 2-0, got subbed off after 60 minutes. It wasn't a debut to remember per se, he didn't set the world on fire, but I said at the time, give him time, a debut doesn't define you, and it doesn't define any player, quite frankly. No debut outright defines a player. It can be a great way to start, but it's harsh to just look at someone's debut and declare your verdict, if you will. Oscar Bob, nightmare opponent in FM, says Devin. Oh man, I don't play FM, but I do actually like the look of it. So I might actually give it a go. But man, Oscar Bob, fan favourite of mine as well. Well, I don't know if he's a fan favourite of yours, but he is a fan favourite of mine. I really do like him. But yeah, overall performances, if we're going off merely FootMob's rankings of him, not bad, to be fair. With 1 goal, 1 assist. The assist was a peach as well. And to be fair, the goal wasn't too bad either. Good strike on the edge of the box. Quick link up between him and Haaland. It was good play. Overall, the performances weren't bad. He was definitely one of the highlights of the Al Hilal game, coming off the bench and giving us a hand. He was absolutely huge there. We made it 3-3 with him and Phil Foden teaming up. Alain, it was kind of like it was a chill game anyway. We were going for goal difference a bit in this game because we were trying to catch Juventus. but we didn't really need to. Against Juventus, we kind of had our foot off the brakes a bit when he came on. I think it may have been 4-2, 5-2 when he came on. The game was done. We had been dominant, and we were chilling. There was no doubt in the City players' heads, probably, and us as fans, really. And against Shirky and against Al Hilal, he obviously came on in the 90th minute, the beginning of extra time, to give us a boost and a bit more energy in the attack. And I feel like he exactly did that. It wasn't just his assist. He had some really good quick moments of play as well that are easy to miss. But overall, I was very impressed with the minutes he got against Al Hilal. I think Al Hilal, for me, has the best I've seen of him. Because Juventus, he didn't really get a lot of time, and Ali, I didn't get to watch. But for me, Al Hilal's been the most promising look at him as a player in my head. Chelsea handed 20 million fine, but I really couldn't care less. Chelsea beat Palmeiras in the Club World Cup, and that's paid for. Yeah, I can agree with you. I can agree with that glimpse. Why would you care? You beat, like you said, if you beat Palmeiras, 20 million fine down the drain. I think that's the great thing in terms of a club being in the Club World Cup. It's the amount of money you get from it is genuinely ridiculous. I'm not going to speak about money in football and whatnot, okay? Because we could talk about it forever, and the money still wouldn't change. But you get almost 30 million just from attending. You get something like 5 million a win or 9 million a win, something like that. I can't remember. You get millions for winning a game, and then qualifying in and then qualifying to the round of 16, you get a fee. And then I imagine the fee gets bigger the more wins you get. Also, Hull got free transfer window embargo, meaning we can't sign a player until 2027. Damn, that is crazy. Even 60 million isn't that much for Chelsea. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, Devon, I'll be honest with you. Chelsea, I think they've, in a weird way, they've got FFP worked out. The amount of money they reel in, you'd be surprised. Not because of revenue and whatnot, okay? The players they sell, okay, because they bought so many players, they have so many players they can sell. Okay, and that's not even including academy talents and whatnot. They bring in so much money, probably due to Todd Bowley, to an extent. The amount of money they bring in, FFP isn't really an issue for them anymore. 60 million for Todd Bowley is pennies in a fountain. Todd Bowley's probably up there for one of the richer Premier League owners. Money's not an issue. Now, if it was like 100 million or more, I know all too well how Chelsea do things. Lol. Oh, you're a Chelsea fan as well, Devon. Alright, fair play. The only issue is point deduction, but fines are fine for Chelsea. Yeah, fine doesn't affect you, really, Bans, transfer window bans and stuff like that, that's something you can maybe worry about a bit more, but a fine is like, it's like when someone gets told off in school and they just laugh it off, basically. That's what a fine is. But anyway, back onto Shirky, and we'll wrap up on him now. Personally, I think he looks really good, and before we actually move on to his two other signings that came in with him, we're going to have a quick look at Phil, who, as we just pointed out, picked up 4 goal contributions in the Club World Cup. Again, he only started one game and only played 60 minutes in it, which was against Wydad. But as opposed to Shirky, he had a really good game with an 8.6 in this one. Came off the bench against Al Ain for 45 minutes, didn't really do anything. Juventus, though, he got a goal, and Al Hilal, he got a goal. So, again, Wouldn't be a point deduction because it's from 2022 Champions League. Oh, then you're fine. Then you're absolutely fine. But yeah, Phil for me. I'm not gonna say he's back to his best. Phil Foden of 23-24 is here, but I do think that this is a step in the right direction. Last season, including myself to an extent, I'm not going to say I was an anomaly. Phil Foden would have one good game, okay, and City fans would be saying, okay, and including myself, by the way, I'm not anonymous in this. City fans would be saying, Phil Foden's back, Phil Foden back to his regular best, my star boy. Of course we'd celebrate and whatnot, but we would go over the top a little bit. But I'm not, and again, I'm not trying to say that Phil Foden's back and whatnot. In terms of getting back to that level, this is a step in the right direction. Good numbers in a good amount of games. Came off the bench against these two, had an impact, which impact off the bench is always good, and also impacting from starting too. Impacting in both areas. To be fair to him. But look, Phil Foden I was really happy with his tournament, and I'm really excited to see him and Shirky link up. I really want these two to start together because I so think it can work, I really, really do. Start them together, play them where they're meant to be played, and I really believe that you could have something special with Phil Foden and Shirky. Bold prediction there, I guess. Actually, I don't really know how bold it is. Maybe it's not my place to say. But nonetheless, Phil Foden, really good from him, and off the back of last season, especially, is a big step in the right direction. I'm not really expecting Phil Foden to get 35 goal contributions like he did in the 23-24 season. That would be great. But if he could even get 25, back up to where his regular used to be, I'd take it instantly. Huge news, Bayern goes to the 2026 World Cup. Oh, nice. Man, huge. I'll be at school for the first game week, so probably go for group stage, match day 2 and 3, and a few World Cup games, including England. Oh, Glimpse, have an absolute blast, bro. How have you done that? Fair play. Enjoy, man. Hey, maybe a Hull City player will be there. Probably more likely to be an ex-Hull City player. Hey, do you reckon Liam Delap will be in the squad by then? I guess that kind of depends on how he does at Chelsea. Really, doesn't it? Anyway, moving on from Phil, I want to look at Nauri. Oh, not you. Hey, there we go. Ooh. I can guarantee a Hull City player won't be in the World Cup. Yeah. Now he didn't play a minute against Widad, just didn't get used, but I felt in the next two games, I didn't watch Alain, but I only heard good things, but especially against Juventus, he was very good. Apparently these two games were really good for Nauri and really looked like a step in the right direction. Now then, against Al Hilal, it was a weird one. It was a drop-off for Nauri in terms of the quality of performances he'd had, but that was partly because I felt he was being used as a bit of an inverted midfielder. He was dipping. He was being told, I don't know if you can see Nauri's head being dragged there. But Nauri, for me, to my knowledge of what I know of Nauri, he's very good at just operating this area. This area of the pitch, he's really good at. Okay, but he doesn't belong here, in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, he's going to drift in a bit naturally in the game. Yeah, I'm not going to say hug the touchline, never move off there. He's going to obviously go there. But it's the amount of times he was in here is the thing for me. In and around the midfield. We know Pep likes an inverted midfielder. Sorry, a couple comments. Furthest I've been is France. To go to North America is huge, man. Enjoy, bro. That's gonna be crazy. Man, the time zone's going to be crazy different. North America. Oh gosh, watching the World Cup's going to be a pain depending on what time those games are on. There's a few benefits from losing to Al Hilal. Longer rest is huge on a proper preseason. Lewis MCFC, welcome to the chat. I do think that this doesn't get talked about enough. This was a little talking point. Okay, it's one of the big positives. Our players now get to rest 5 weeks before. Well, 3 weeks with no training, 5 weeks before we actually kick off against Wolves. Probably doesn't get spoken about enough. I try to speak about player well-being as much as I can. When it's right, I don't bring it up every stream, but I do try to bring it up as much as I can because I really think that players are mistreated, and you're going to see players, retire earlier and pick up more injuries in their career because of the amount of games they have to play. So getting 5 weeks off for these lads is huge. It also gives Rodri time to sort his injury out. More time for him is brilliant. So yeah, the benefit of not being in the Club World Cup is absolutely huge, in my opinion. But of course, I wasn't like secretly hoping we'd go out of the Club World Cup. FYI, I wanted us to win it, but there are pros and there are cons. Hey, Lewis MCC, you're also going to the Club World Cup. Look at that. Have a good one, guys. Man, I say have a good one, like it's happening tomorrow or next week. I'll wish you luck in a year when it actually comes around. Club, I wish. Oh man, you have no idea how much I wish I did the treble season for City on this channel. You have no idea how much I wish I did that, because if I did, man, it just would have been amazing. City treble, World Cup streams in the winter. I could just see it in my mind. It would have been amazing. But oh well, it's coming on for 3 years ago now, that World Cup final. Gosh, feels wrong. Yeah, but back onto this game. Aitnari for me wasn't really utilised how he probably should have been. He's being tested as an inverted midfielder. I just don't think it's meant to be. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Aitnari, he's going to work on it a lot now over the next few weeks, and come Wolves when he returns to Molineux, he's going to have an awesome game in that inverting in that midfield, and he's just going to show the world, show me that why I was wrong and why he just needed a bit more time. Maybe I'm not giving Aitnari enough time here. But for me, I really do believe that Aitnari belongs on this left side. And look, the main thing is, as well, Aitnari had some really good, promising games here. Juventus, one of the best players on the field for the time he was on. He was absolutely brilliant against Juventus. It shows here, highest rating in the back line, third highest rating overall on the pitch. He was so good, especially playing up with Doku too. Those two linking up really, really well. Yes, this is Sissy. Now on Saturday, Sissy, I can't stream beyond 6:45 tonight. I'm also having to cancel Blue Friday show just because something came on. But big up to you for tuning in. This is Sissy. How you doing? Glimpse and Lewis are going to the World Cup. Are you as well? Man, you should think it out, guys. It seems like everyone's going to the World Cup. But look, yeah, Aitnari for me was a really big positive when he was being played in the position that he belongs in. We shouldn't. Maybe I'm being too quick on it here because he's played one game, and maybe I'm being a bit too harsh, a bit too quick on it. But for me personally, I think he's more suited to that, just going up and down. At 6:45. No, 6:45. I think he's much better suited to just operating on that left-hand side, as opposed to dipping into the midfield a bit. Okay, because I felt like he was doing that a lot more. Maybe it was just me. But up this left-hand side, he was definitely... I felt it's definitely where he's best suited for me. You know, he had a really good moment against Al. I would like to mention when he teamed up with Rangers real quick. Those two had a real good quick bit of play. I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see like all the link up for Rangers. You know, those type of passes from Rangers, man. It was just wonderful to watch, and I can't wait to see more of them next season. What a ball it was! No, can't afford it. I assume tickets are thousands of pounds. TBH, as well, I'm not really that invested in international football. Yeah, that's fair enough. I'm not super duper invested either, if I'm honest with you. You know, I like it when certain things go down, and I enjoy watching it, of course, too. You know, like the Club World Cup, the World Cup final was amazing to watch. I'd rather go to one to see European away day and have a mint time rather than go to USA, constant thunderstorms, £1,000 tickets to see England play football. Yeah, I would rather that as well. Yeah, I saw that, Elijah. Big ups from Mug to the chat, by the way. I've only just seen you in the stream. Big ups to you. I saw that, Elijah. I'm not really going to comment on it because it's obviously a very serious thing, but I just hope the correct conclusion happens, whatever that may be. Sorry, but it's nothing personal or disrespectful. I think he was joking, but it's all good, I think. Yeah, Lewis has confirmed it's okay. But look, as I finished off speaking about Ainari, let's speak about our boy Rangers now. Rangers. Here we go. So he featured in 3 of the 4 games as well. Didn't get utilised here, but he completed 3 sets in 90 minutes. And for me, all 3 of the performances I felt were just solid. Okay, Al was definitely his weakest game, but I felt the midfield he was in didn't help with that. And plus he's new. He is still new to the system, to be fair to him. Yeah, can I stay clear commenting on that? You never know who's listening. Yeah, it's something that it shouldn't be discussed on stream. It's obviously a topic, but yeah, I won't be talking about it. I'm sure Club World Cup won't be perfect. I'm sure World Cup won't be perfect, but arguably the best World Cup host was USA in 1994 with incredible attendance. So hope the weather isn't too bad. Weather won't be that bad depending on what state you go to in America. Like if you go to Washington, you can expect a lot of rain there. Big up, TV Lewis, have you seen England play football? That's why we play terrible. I also would get nowhere near the tickets. I've never been to an England game. Who was watching the quarterfinals? It should have been us today. I'm not because I'm busy. But yeah, I mean, I hope it's entertaining. Let me see what the Club World Cup is shaping up at the moment. Fluminense versus wow, Alf. Oh man, Alf and I predicted that correctly. Fluminense beat blinking Inter. What a prediction! Shame I didn't predict the other stuff correctly. I've never seen England play in live, so my first time being the World Cup is incredible. I'm hanging on your downfall. Absolutely, Leicester City. We will be there. Hopefully, Fluminense get the job done. You cost me my sleep. Yes, absolutely. I got 3.5 hours of sleep that day. But back onto Rangers. For me, Rangers seems to be one of those players, okay, that is going to put in just almost like Rodri. He's just going to put in consistently like 7 out of 10s almost every week, with the occasional masterclass here and there. Although every game from Rodri felt amazing, to be fair. The occasional masterclass of just pure brilliance from him as well. But I think he's going to be that 7 out of 10 every week player. Never really looking at him as the guy that let us down. And overall, I just think he's going to be brilliant. For a player that's still adjusting to our system, he's being proven to be worth every penny that was spent on him. 46 million quid we spent on this guy. An absolute steal, no doubt. Not as bad as when you played Alain on Monday morning, 2 a.m. Well, at least we won that game. Oh, well, at least we won that. It was hot to sleep here too. I also doing my watch-alongs. It was light at like 3:30 a.m. I know. I have this curtain closed, yeah, and after I ended the stream, okay, I like chilled for a little bit. And I opened my curtain and I saw that it was light outside, and I was like, oh gosh, I'm so cooked. Raiders tab on Tuesday. All down to Pep. The experiment should not be done. Should not be that experiment. Then he cannot be lone DM against a competent team with Bernardo and Gundo next to him. Yeah, I agree. He needs solid midfielders. Now then, my personal opinion is Rangers can go in here, okay, but like you've just said, these two cannot be the two midfielders next to him. For me, I don't mind it being Bernardo or Gundo, okay, and then having someone that can really help out there and who's got the energy for it in the other area. Like Nico Gonzalez, Rangers, Bernardo. I wouldn't mind seeing that midfield. Or a Nico Gonzalez, Rangers, Kova. I know Kova wasn't here, but still. I don't mind him being in there, but again, it all comes down to the pairing ahead of him. Gundo is, Gundo and Bernardo, they just ain't got it in them to do that. They ain't got the legs. What is going to happen with Lewis? Well, he's getting a contract extension, so no matter what you think to him, he is definitely staying. Man, it's raining right now. I just heard it crashing down. I know me showing you my window doesn't help there, but man, it's raining. Yeah, Rangers Lewis is getting a contract extension, so whether you want him gone or not, he is most definitely staying. But yeah, the midfield pairing, it needs to change for me. It can't be these two. We have such a stacked midfield in terms of options now. Rodri, okay, I know he's not fully back yet. Phil Foden can go in midfield, and he'd obviously dip in and out, and he'd be very much offensive, but he can go in the midfield. Nico Gonzalez, O'Reilly as well. We have a very good midfield, okay, and even Aitnauri, who I don't want to be that inverted midfielder, but he's going to help out a little bit because fullbacks do. Does no one remember that Nico Jivas Newcastle performance? That performance was genuinely stunning. I was there in person. He was like Rodri that day. He clearly has the potential. Sadly, that game wasn't televised for some reason, Leicester City, so I didn't actually get to see him in full action. But it doesn't matter if I get to see him. It matters if Pep did. And Pep most definitely did. And I just don't get... I genuinely am baffled to what Nico Gonzalez did to lose the favour of Pep Guardiola. I am so curious. I'm so curious to know. Because Nico Gonzalez has shown promising signs. And sadly, it's only been promising signs because we haven't used him enough to really have a verdict on him. Where will Lewis play if we sign a right back? Rotation in the midfield. I think he probably plays a little bit better in midfield, to be honest, as long as he's got physicality around him to give him a hand. Everyone is doubting us right now. Let them doubt Elijah, to be honest with you. You know, let them all stare. We'll bounce. I think we will bounce back, you know. Let them doubt, you know. I've seen videos of like people doubting our summer business and stuff like that. But I'm just let them do their thing, and we're going to do our thing, okay? We're chilling right now, okay? We have right to be a bit worried, okay? But I'm not super worried yet, because it was one defeat against Al Hilal. The manner of it wasn't great, don't get me wrong. But I'm trusting in my club. They have 5 weeks to find out what the problems were and to work on a solution. They also have 2 months, basically, to bring in new players to really help with the squad. They still need to sign a right back. And whatever else they deem fit, they'll bring in as well. I'm willing to give them that time, and I'm willing to see how they'll do. Now then, just final point of the stream, as I ain't got long left. The wingers, Doku and Savinho. Look, for me, I was very impressed with both of them. Doku mainly. Doku was someone that really played well in my eyes. You know, in all three games he featured in, he got at least an 8 out of 10, and got 2 goal contributions across the tournament as well. Probably there was probably a chance where he could have got in another, to be honest. By the way, I was thinking, like a week before the season starts, would you be down to do a show together again talking about the Prem? I'm on holiday after, so that's why, like, the week before. Yeah, sure, man. Yeah, just hit me up on probably X. I'm probably a little bit more active on there, but hit me up on Insta or X, wherever you're most comfortable. And yeah, we'll talk about it. But yeah, why not? I should be able to. Do that. Yeah, absolutely. Grealish is in no rush to go anywhere. He is in a fine situation, doing nothing, getting paid 300k a week. You can see he's buzzing with all the Insta stories he's sending discreet digs at Sissy. Yeah, for me, I mean, why would you be in a rush? Like you said, he's earning over $1 million a month. You know, he's absolutely laughing right now with the money he's getting. Yeah, he's absolutely chilling. He's absolutely chilling. Ortega, Kanji, Stones, Gundo, Kova, McAtee, Walker, Phillips, might leave it to prediction. I wonder who I think is going to leave out of all these. I think Gundo's gone. I think McAtee's gone. That's obvious. Walker's obviously gone. Kanji's probably staying, if I'm being honest. We're losing gatekeeper at least. But what do we think? Maybe it's just looking in a bit too much. But what do we think to like the goalkeeper photos, and considering these 2 have had their picture? Because I don't know why Edison wouldn't have. You know, maybe I'm looking into it a little bit too much. I'd be stunned if Akanji Stones leave. I think Stones is slightly more likely, but yeah, I don't think either of them are leaving, to be honest with you. Despite me thinking we need to like drop a defender, because we have 7 centre backs. We have 7. It's crazy. We went from an injury crisis to just absolutely chilling. Gosh, Calvin Phillips, 31 appearances in almost 3 years. No, 3 years. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. Oh, not one to remember. Costa Rica claiming the rate on them circle graphs was absolutely shocking. I've never seen a stat so bad as Costa's air rate. I don't think I've seen it, to be honest with you, but looking at it, that's going to be great. Quickly, I'll move on to Slovenia real quick. But look, I was very happy with both our wingers. Doku slightly more than Slovenia, but I still thought Slovenia wasn't bad. Got a man of the match performance. Almost had an 8 here. 8.8 against Juventus, one of the highest scores I've seen for this tournament. Goal and an assist. An absolute peach of a goal too. I really hope these two can take it into next season. Now, they're both still young. Savinho especially, he's only 21, so Savinho's got a lot of time. Doku's like 23 or something like that. Let me check. So Doku is a little bit older, but they've still got a lot of time. To be fair, I do think this is make or break season for Doku. Yeah, feel free to send it. Savinho got a new trim. All right, I'll try and catch a look at it later. But I just did not show stuff for Savinho, but yeah, feel free to send me the photo. But yeah, Savinho, for me, really a really solid tournament from him, and again, I really want him to carry it into the next season, to be honest. I really, really do. Now then, thank you, Vista City, for this. So, Diogo Costa versus Chevalier from the 24-25 season. So, passing here, Chevalier takes it. Where is it? Oh, wait, no, Costa. Long. Well, is it further out? Further out means like better, doesn't it? Aerials one. Oh, Costa. Costa is awful. Don't get me wrong, Costa obviously seems to be solid when it comes to his distribution. You know, that's obviously the main reason we're interested in this guy. But, like, I'm sorry, as a club, we do need to respect this side of it a bit more. Because, like, Edison vs Al Hilal just shows you where Eddie lacks a bit. And Eddie's the shot stopping has deteriorated over the season. It used to be a lot better. Don't get me wrong, he never used to be like Alisson, for example, at Liverpool, Courtois. But it used to be a lot better, which means that he's just slowly gotten a bit worse and worse. And that could very well happen to Diogo Costa. And I don't know how much worse he can get when it comes to his aerial stuff. His saving rate is worse than Chevalier's. And Porto are the best team, and are like one of the best teams in the league, by the way. So he probably didn't even have as many saves to make, if I'm being fair. I'm not so sure what that quite means, but Chevalier is leading it. And when it comes to short passing, they're both about equal. So really, if Chevalier just leads this, okay, and to be honest, Diogo Costa probably gets a bit more freedom because of the team that Costa are. I've never seen a stat as bad as that. No, I've never seen it be that inward. You know, that is crazy. That is genuinely insane. For me, I would love to get our hands on Chevalier. It doesn't really look like anyone's too in for him right now. Doesn't really look like anyone's really pushing for it. So if there's a chance to get him, it is now. And we're in the summer transfer window. I bet he's just told to be yeah. Part of that is partially it as well. That is a giant weakness from Costa. Yeah, I know. That comes down to more than just style of play for someone. You know, like you just said, Chevalier probably just gets told to boot the ball long. You know, and I don't know. All right, fair enough. You know, he probably gets told to just absolutely hoof it. Okay, because of the team that he plays for. That being Lille. Lille aren't a bad team, but they're not PSG. You know, so he doesn't really get time to pass the ball about as much as he probably would like to. But at City, he would get that freedom because of the team we are. Teams let us have the ball. You know, Edison's like come up to the halfway line before now. and Chevalier would get similar freedom. PSG flirting with Chevalier says you should act now. I mean, yeah, we should, okay? And it comes down, really, for me, a bit more than just, oh, Edison's got to go. We've got to bring in a new keeper. We have to start thinking long term about keepers as well, I feel. All our keepers are above 30. For me, we should be bringing in someone. And even if you can get Chevalier to come in now and be like, all right, you're going to be the number 2. Ortega's on the way out. This is going to be Edison's last season as the number 1. And then we'll see where you're at next season, okay? We need to get him in. Liverpool signed Mamardashvili when they still had Alisson at the club. Mamardashvili stayed on loan. I would personally like Chevalier to come straight in. But even so, just make that move so that you can have Chevalier at the club. Chevalier seems to be a proper good keeper. We've already missed out on a bargain by Joan Garcia. I don't want to miss on a potential another. But look, I am going to wrap it up there. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. This is Sissy, Elijah. Oh, thinking that. This is Sissy, Elijah, Glimpse, Lewis MCFC, Devon, and everyone else along the way. Really do appreciate the support as per usual. Possibly back tomorrow. Again, I'm quite busy though. I'm quite busy from basically now until some late tomorrow. So we'll see how it goes though. Appreciate everyone as usual. Make sure to like the stream if you haven't already. Make sure to subscribe and make sure to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next one. I'll see you all tomorrow, Blues. Bye bye.